What do you think about Infinite Jest? That novel is full of it.
Yeah. I wonder what some other examples in film of it. Oh, hey! When did you get here? I didn't see you slip in. I was just talking to my friend Justin here about the term bathos and trying to find some examples in movies.
Now that your friend is here, I think I gotta go.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Well, I might as well talk to you. Okay, so I just did this video on comedic timing a couple weeks ago, and one of my regular viewers, Ahmed Badawi, I think that's the way to pronounce it. Hopefully it's correct. Anyway, he says, I've searched all of your videos looking for one about bathos. I hope you talk about it soon. Ahmed, I didn't know what bathos was when you left that comment, so I did a little research, and I figured out what it is, and so I'm going to tell everybody about it. So I'm glad you're here, and we will talk about bathos in just a second. Hey there, everybody. My name is Doug Fall. This is Augmented Actor, where we help you augment your acting career with tips, tactics, and tech. So what is bathos? Bathos is a sort of obscure form of comedy that kind of gets used in a lot of films and books and literature and things like that. It sounds very similar to pathos, the word pathos, and it's actually almost the exact opposite of pathos. Pathos is when a writer is really trying to tug at the heartstrings of an audience. Their character is going through so much drama or so much pain that we, the audience, feel sympathy for them. We feel sorry for them. In fact, the word pathetic finds its roots in pathos. So you can see that a pathetic character is somebody that you feel sorry for. Now, bathos in Greek means depth. And you would think that the term bathos would mean the depth of human emotions or something like that. But actually, it was coined by a 18th century poet named Alexander Pope. And he used the term to describe the depths at which a writer will go to manipulate an audience's emotions. The way he used the term, it was basically kind of saying you're being overly dramatic, that you're putting on the sauce so much that that it's almost laughable. Another way of looking at pathos versus bathos is a scene with a woman on the phone, and she's crying and she's just distraught, and you realize she's lost her husband. She just got the news, and you feel so sorry for her. That's pathos. Same woman in a different scene. She's crying. She's on the phone. She's just so distraught. She puts down the phone and she says, "My Amazon package is going to be late." That's bathos. So when you think of like a soap opera with all that sort of heavy drama laid on really thick.
Since you ripped my heart right out of my body, I think it's only fair that I rip yours out in return.
That's kind of a form of bathos in the way that Alexander Pope first coined the term. So you might describe bathos as tear-jerking, melodramatic, schmaltzy, saccharine, over the top. I did another video recently about bad acting. Link is up there. In it, I talked about Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
I hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
And Elizabeth Berkley's performance in Showgirls.
Different places.
And a bunch of other really over-the-top bad acting movies. And I think the term bathos could be used to describe some of those performances. In those movies, I think that the intention of the authors was to just really hammer home the drama of the scene. But because of the way that it was directed, or the way the script was written, or the way the actor's performance was given, it kind of overdid it. It made it so over the top that it actually was funny. So when something is overly dramatic, unintentionally funny, that's one way of defining bathos. Now, an entirely different way of defining bathos is anti-climactic, or a sudden shift from very grandiose themes to very mundane and ordinary themes. So bathos is kind of like an anti-climax. Now, anti-climax is actually an intentional motif that is used, whereas bathos is sometimes unintentional, like I said, and bathos can also be used anywhere throughout a story, whereas an anti-climax is usually used at the climax of a story. So that's the difference between those two terms. So other synonyms for bathos would be a letdown, a dud, fizzles out at the end, or an ineffective conclusion, a lemon, a clunker, or something unexpected. So So it's kind of like a comic relief. After a really dramatic scene, everything's really, really built up, and then somebody flips it around and says something just absurd or ordinary or the exact opposite, changes the tone suddenly. That's bathos.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything.
In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there's a moment when the secret of life, the universe, and everything is about to be revealed. And the secret is
42.
That builds up the drama and the excitement and the anticipation, and then when the answer lands, it's absurd. When bathos is used in a film, it's usually a jolting experience for the audience. It might cause an unexpected laugh or a little bit of relief or just make something suddenly change tone altogether. Another example is the original Ghostbusters movie. When Manhattan's about ready to be destroyed by this invisible monster, and whoever thinks a thought, that's what the monster's going to appear as, and it's all this drama building up.
What do you mean choose?
The choice is made.
And Dan Aykroyd's character thinks of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Which ends up stomping all over New York City. So you see how that heightened drama suddenly gets flipped into something that's absurd and comical, and it provides a comical effect in the movie. Another example is Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when the gang of men go up to that cave where there's a killer monster inside, only to discover that it's a cute little bunny rabbit that comes out.
What, behind the rabbit?
Now, bathos appears in all kinds of parodies, like the Naked Gun movies and the Airplane movies. The Cohen brothers use bathos all the time. Burn After Reading, I just rewatched that last night, and there are so many little scenes where bathos happens. For instance, this scene with John Malkovich, it just cuts to him and he looks dead. The music's dramatic.
We were young and committed.
And then we realize that he's actually recording his memoirs. So it's an absurdist twist. And even later on in that movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, stop here, fast forward. The climax of the movie, these characters are running crazy, thinking everybody is out to get them. And one guy is about ready to kill another guy.
Stop! Intruder! Wait a minute.
And it cuts away, and the entire rest of the movie is two guys sitting in an office explaining what happened to all these characters.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
So it kind of fizzles out. It's anti-climax. It's sort of, we would consider it a letdown, and then the movie's suddenly over and you're like, whoa, what just happened? Bathos doesn't always have to be super hilarious. It's just any sudden turn of events. Another example is Steel Magnolias, when Sally Field's character is mourning the loss of the death of her daughter.
I don't know what to do.
She says she wants to hit somebody.
Yes, I do. I just want to hit something. I want to hit it hard.
And Olympia Dukakis pushes Shirley MacLaine up and says,
hit this. Go ahead, Merlin. Slap her.
And that's a sudden shift from tears to laughter. Another example of bathos is Martin Scorsese's After Hours.
In the cab on the way down here, all my money flew out the window.
Griffin Dunn's character leaves his office job and goes out for a night on the town and ends up in a series of absurd events.
You're dead, pal.
I'm what?
And ends up having a bunch of people chasing him.
They're all trying to kill me.
And he ends up being dumped out of the back of a truck right in front of the office he left 8 hours earlier. So it's again that anti-climactic feeling, that leaving you feeling like, what was that all about? When bathos works its best, it leaves you wondering about life, about the absurdity of life and death. And, anytime a character suddenly dies in a movie, that's kind of a form of bathos. The end of Gone with the Wind.
Red, you go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
That's a form of bathos. It just shows you the absurdity of life and how anticlimactic death can be. Everything's absurd. The whole secret to life, the universe, and everything. It's 42, right? It's 42. I'm sorry. I'm really struggling. I appreciate you stopping by today. Sometimes it's really hard to do these kind of videos, and I struggle sometimes just coming up with content, and then you spend all this time setting up fake brick walls in the background, and then nobody wants to watch your video. You get like 5 views, and it just sucks. It's just so stupid. You don't care about any of this. But if you do, hit subscribe and smash that like button. Now that's an example of Bathos. Thanks everybody, thanks Ahmed. There's some videos on your screen that are similar to this one you might be interested in. Have a good day. Talk to you soon. Bye!